Do you ever just sit down, do a little thinking, and bam, 3 hours gone in a snap? No? Well, I do. And recently I've been sifting through a bunch of my core memories and just kinda wanna put one out there. This core memory is about my first crush, all the way back in the 6th grade, which was over a decade and a half ago, so details will be a bit hazy. The story starts off like any other story. She, a clarinetist. I, a trumpeter. A story as old as time. And how did I fall for this Squidward-esque individual? Well, she talked to me. She gave me attention, laughed at my jokes, and I was immediately caught in the genjutsu. Can you blame me though? I mean, be a half-decent looking female and laugh at any man's jokes? Instant Tsukuyomi. That man for the next half a second will have envisioned his whole life together with that girl, and instead of confessing on the spot, he'll ignore that feeling and bury it deep within his subconscious, to never let it see the light of day, to spare his own feelings of the possibility of rejection. And that's what I did. Going back to the actual topic of this rant, at the time, girl, I'll call her Tina, had a boyfriend, which admittedly was strange because we were 10, but whatever. My crush was basically puppy love, a love of attention rather than actual human connection, a denji to her Makima. It didn't matter that she was already in a relationship because all that mattered to me was someone was actually paying attention to me. A fleeting feeling for any Asian child like myself. Someone liking me for my personality rather than my actual ability to provide? Unheard of. So, just being around Tina was enough to satiate my feelings for her. Plus, I had my boys to help me forget about those feelings with video games and sports. This continued into our final year of middle school. During the time, Tina happened to have started dating one of my friends. Let me cut in for a bit. Looking back on this, geez, this girl just said yes to anyone. Why was I ever scared of being rejected? Honestly. Being children and boys, you know my friend group was not gonna let that slide. We berated him with insults. Girls? Ew. Having a crush? What are you, gay? We bullied the heck out of him. And in just 2 weeks, they broke up. Probably not because of us. This leads into the climax of this story. My middle school Six Flags trip. And on our field trip, it was made very clear to me that Tina most definitely had feelings for me. I mean, how could I not notice? Tina's friends decided to play Cupid, intentionally separating me from my boys, having me sit next to her on every ride, and would even make constant insinuations, making it quite easy to realize what they were doing. For example, on one of the water rides, my hoodie got drenched, and I took it off to let it dry, and her friends were like what you see? No ma'am. No one would want to see a fat 12-year-old removing his top layer of clothing. If anything, it was probably quite unsightly. Even after all the hints dropped, being 12, I shrugged those advances off like a champ, with my brick wall-esque mentality. On a separate note, I was not as stupid as I've been leading on, cause yes, I did eventually get the hints, and being a certified funny man, decided to play a little joke on the group. Like every other ride, they left a spot open for me to sit next to Tina, but I decided, no, I won't sit next to Tina this time. I'll sit with this random family instead. I even asked them to hold hands, cause, you know, the ride's scary and all, hoping the group would notice and laugh about it. They didn't. Classic Tim core memory. Moving on. On the next ride, in line, was when Tina finally had enough of just dropping hints and finally confessed her feelings for me. And that she's actually had feelings for me since the 6th grade. And in that moment, I had a self-realization that would ruin every potential girlfriend chance and leave me maidenless up to the present day. I, Timothy, was more interested in the chase than being in an actual relationship. After the confession, it's like, I won. Women has been conquered. What more is there to this conquest? Dating? No. I choose to skip the dialogue and heartache. And yeah, I know, truly maidenless behavior, but I was 12 at the time. Even though I haven't really changed up on this philosophy. That would be the end of the story, because after 8th grade, Tina moves away, but as a final goodbye, our friend group decided to go to the mall and watch a movie. Though, we separated into 2 groups, which kinda defeats the purpose of the group farewell. But whatever, we were 12. So separating into 2 groups, Group A decided to watch Pitch Perfect, and Group B decided to watch a generic horror movie. Me with no preference gets pulled into watching the generic horror movie, with Tina and one of her friends. And, Jesus, I don't know how these 2 people were friends, cause Tina's friend did basically everything in her power to just bully Tina. For example, in the theater watching the horror movie, Tina would cling to my arm, and seeing this, her friend decides to do the same. And what does Tim do? Tim is stun locked. The poor preteen is thinking, damn, I'm a chick magnet, even though Tina's friend was just doing all that to make Tina jealous. But I didn't know that at the time. Midway through the movie, Tina's friend wanted popcorn and just decides to drag me along. Truly ragdoll behavior. While getting popcorn, this snake really said, hey, wanna join the other group? And sadly, Tim wanted to say yes, cause that movie was straight trash. But his morals wouldn't let him. Nothing eventful really happened after that, and I never saw Tina again. And Tim moved on to the next quest.